talent is overrated. I've asked most of you, you know a lot of people who were talented when you were growing up, who you think were going to amount to something special, but they ended up not amounting to anything much. You might have a talent, but that is not enough. That is overrated. You might be a talented footballer. You might be a talented saxophonist. You might be a talented baker. You might be a talented cook, a talented salesperson, a talented nurse, whatever it is. But if you really want to be the best, you want to become excellent, you must continue to fine-tune that. You must fine-tune that gift. Because talent is overrated. Do you know that over 70% of African immigrants in America live on a survival mode other than thriving? And the reason why is not because they are not intelligent enough, not because they are not smart, hardworking, enterprising. Nobody works harder in America than immigrants. Nobody has given their blood, sweat, and effort a lot in America more than immigrants. Why don't they thrive? Why do they live in a state of perpetual survival? And the reason is not because, as I said, they're lazy or anything. The reason is because of the programming that had happened to most immigrants before they moved into America. As you know, most immigrants come generally from countries of less economic and less social prosperity, less opportunities, and less pathways to get into a life of abundance. What really happens is that most immigrants coming into America come from that mindset of lack, from an environment whereby there have been little for many to share, and they don't realize that they are now in a society where there is more that is available. But it is very important to understand that, of course, traveling to some foreign country like America or Canada is not an answer to everything. It's not necessarily the future that you aspire to. There are a few things you need to unlearn and learn some new things to position you in a place that you can do some great things. What if you lost your job today? How long will you be able to hang on? Is your emergency fund able to give you 6 months of leeway? Or are you like most people who, if they lose their job, they are 1 month away from financial disaster? Listen, I know you're working hard. I know you show up every day, but it doesn't feel like anything is changing. You feel stuck. And the reason why you feel stuck is because most people earn more, but lifestyle inflation eats it up. No one ever taught you how to build wealth. Your income isn't the wealth. Your income is a seed. It might not create freedom if you don't duplicate it. But here is the good news. Here is what I want to tell you today. I have created the Paycheck to Prosperity Seminar, and I am inviting you to that seminar on Saturday, the 31st of May. For a small investment of $49, you will be able to learn how to take control of your income, how to duplicate that income, how to think and act like the 1%, the investors. You will learn some smart ways to earn more while keeping your 9-to-5 job, of course. How you can break free from depending solely on that paycheck. And finally, start building wealth that will outlive you. Additionally, for 3 days after the seminar, you will have access to the recording of that seminar. You will also receive a digital workbook to help you organize your thoughts and your actions and put you on the path to success. In addition to that, yours truly will be on the line and you'll be able to have a live question and answer session. If you're ready for that shift, don't hesitate. Click in the link below and go ahead and register for this life-changing seminar. I'll see you on the inside. If you stay on this video, I want to talk to you today on some key components, some key philosophies that have not only helped shape my own life, but are helping to shape a lot of the mentees and the clients I coach. And I want to talk to you about the first one, which is something that really helps to define and clarify a lot, especially in the immigrant communities, why as African immigrants, we need to understand this concept in order to build wealth, to become successful, and to build meaningful businesses that can change generations to come. You see, as immigrants, a lot of African immigrants talk about generational wealth. I want to leave generational wealth to my children. But a lot of people haven't defined what generational wealth is. A lot of people haven't even spent the time to read, study, understand what constitutes generational wealth. That's why I want to talk on some key philosophies that are going to help shape your mind, that will give you clarity, that will help you see much, much clearer as how you can achieve this very lofty goal. The first one is a Jewish history and tradition called fagging. Fagging is a Yiddish word, and what fagging really means is fagging is a tradition in the Jewish community whereby when a Jewish person sets up a business, the community commits to support that business in spite of the perfection of that business. What it means is that, yes, when somebody sets up a business, it is natural. They're still going through a lot of challenges trying to build it up. But the community says, yes, even if the customer service is not perfect yet, we are going to support you. Even if your product is not perfect yet, we are going to support you. And we are going to keep buying, keep supporting you, keep bringing revenue and traction and advertisement to your business until you become successful. I think that is a concept a lot of immigrants, African immigrants especially, don't understand. Not only about business, but about life. The ability to understand that it is important to be consistent, to be persistent, and to continue to build. When I look at other communities, like the Asian communities, I know people who live and drive for 30, 45 minutes to go buy from an Asian store because they know that when they buy from an Asian store, it's not necessarily discrimination. That's not what I'm talking about on this video. I'm talking about community economics, which is also important for African immigrants to understand how this works in America and why it is capital, right? Because when you understand the notion of fagging, you realize that yes, if an African has opened a restaurant, or you go to some African restaurant or an African store or an African-owned business, even if the customer service is not perfect, don't abandon the business. Give them feedback. Tell them what they need to do to improve. But keep coming back to support, to buy, right? So the first concept is fagging, the concept of understanding that despite the imperfections of the business, you're going to support the business till that business becomes valuable and highly profitable. The second philosophy I like us to understand is the biblical philosophy of David and Goliath in the historical and legendary battle where David dealt with Goliath. Remember when David appeared in front of Goliath, Goliath was crawling and hollering and thinking to himself, what an embarrassment. They send a small boy like this to come and fight with me. But what Goliath didn't realize is that in David's mind, while Goliath was saying David is too small to fight and he will kill him in the wisp of his breath, David was thinking Goliath is too big to miss. Just because David came from a line, from a heritage that historically were herdsmen and they were experts at using the sling. So by the time David was standing in front of Goliath, he had been using his sling for years and he had perfected the craft of using that sling. It is even said that David was able to divert an arrow with the shot from his sling. So looking at big Goliath, he knew exactly that he couldn't miss this big target in front of him. What is it that you know? Have you fine-tuned your gift on that specific thing you're bringing to the market? Have you been able to make sure you are excellent at it? When I look at my own circumstance, what I'm doing to you today is not born today. It's been a process of continuous fine-tuning. I remember when I started my YouTube channel in 2014, I never took the time to understand what the business of YouTube is really all about. My thinking was a social media platform, so every once in a while I'll record videos and put on YouTube. Fast forward 2 years ago, I realized, Gustav, there is an entire business around YouTube. And most importantly, it's not only the business, but I'm actually writing my legacy. I am living my legacy talking to you. I am writing my autobiography. I am actually recording my autobiography, if I might say. You know why? Because 45 years from today, 50 years from today, somebody is going to be watching this video. And I hope and pray that they find something valuable in it. So when you think about the concept of the whole battle of David and Goliath, it should help you to realize, number one, that you need to fine-tune that skill or gift that you have. What is it that you have? Don't underestimate it. What is it that you can bring to the marketplace? Keep fine-tuning it. Even when you bring it to the marketplace, continue to improve on it. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you will notice consistent improvement on my channel. Because I'm not satisfied with best. I'm satisfied with better of best. and I encourage you to follow that path. Hey guys, just a brief break from regular programming. You see, most human beings, if you really go deep into their heart's desire, they want three things. They want to live a life of growth and development in order to be relevant. They want to be able to build wealth and also leave behind a legacy that will last for perpetuity. In my Guarantee Your Legacy program, which is a custom designed program, I answer these three questions and more for you. I have limited availability on that program. It's an 8 weeks program whereby we meet once a week one-on-one with me. In addition to that, I'll walk through the different critical things that you need to be able to grow as a person, to be able to become relevant, to be able to impact people in order to create a legacy. And in doing that, you can also build wealth. If you already have it, I can teach you how to protect it, preserve it, so that way it lasts for perpetuity. Don't hesitate. If you would like to learn more about that program, click on the link down in the description section of this video, and I sure will see you on the inside. Let's go back to the regular program. The third concept I want to talk to you about is talent is overrated. I've asked most of you, you know a lot of people who were talented when you were growing up, who you think were going to amount to something special, but they ended up not amounting to anything much. I was listening to a program by LeBron James, an interview, and they were asking him, and he said he had a classmate and friend when he was growing up in Ohio, and this guy he believed is the most talented basketballer he has ever seen in his life. But the guy amounted to nothing. When they were in high school, he wouldn't practice. He would end up smoking weed and doing stupid stuff. He would go after the girls. He would be indisciplined. He wouldn't pay attention to the gift that God gave him. And it amounted to much. It didn't amount to anything much. So what I'm really saying is that, yes, you might have a gift. You might have a talent, but that is not enough. That is overrated. You know what will really make a difference? What will help you transform that gift, that talent, into something tangible, something that the marketplace can receive and exchange that gift and talent to give you some money from their pocket, is if you fine-tune it. You must fine-tune that gift. Many years ago, when I discovered that I had a gift in my ability to communicate with clarity, to touch people at the point of their heart and their spirit, to give them a reason to feel good about themselves, but to also ignite a fire in people, I started taking my gift seriously. I became a professional MC because it gave me a chance to continue to use my gift of communication. And with my professional MC gift, I've made a lot of money. But most importantly, I've made a lot of friends. And this is no brag, but that gift, I've leveraged it because I kept fine-tuning that gift. A few weekends ago, I helped 2 different organizations. Within a 2-hour time frame for each of these organizations, I was able to raise $95,000 for one and another $90,000 for the other organization. And most of the guests who came to that event said the reason they donated so much was because I created an emotional ignition in their heart to want to do more for that organization. So I discovered my own gift, and I realized that earlier in my life, and I decided, you know what? No matter what I do in this life, I must make sure I keep my gift closer. It's not about the talent, it's about your persistence. I kept working on my gift. It's been about 17 years today. The product you are seeing in front of you is 17 years in the making. I kept fine-tuning. I kept working on it. I kept reading books, watching shows, paying for seminars. I've already spent over $70,000 in seminars and personal development training. So I need you to understand that yes, you might be talented. You might be a talented footballer. You might be a talented saxophonist. You might be a talented baker. You might be a talented cook, a talented salesperson, a talented nurse, whatever it is. But if you really want to be the best, you want to become excellent, you must continue to fine-tune that, because talent is overrated. Another key component, a key philosophy I want to talk to you about is a lot of people spend time worrying about the thief in the marketplace. People talk about the thief wanting to steal their purses at public events. People hold their wallets tight, hold their purses tight. But people don't realize the thief that is stealing their destiny, that is stealing their motivation, that is stealing their minds and spirit, and that is stealing their futures. Things like distraction from social media, things like distraction today from entertainment. Listen, the poor are always entertained. The rich are always working to be educated. And when I talk about education here, I'm not talking about going to some formal school. If you can do that, that's great. But we live in a time today when you can self-educate. I can tell you something. I have a bachelor's degree in law from Cameroon. And then I went to University of California in Berkeley. one of the top business schools in the world, and I did certificate programs in marketing and international business. But let me tell you, most of what I've learned and that has transformed my life in this season of my life is from informal learning, from self education, from deciding that these are the things I want to do, and I start educating myself on those things. So it is important to understand that the thief is not the one that is really going to steal from your pocket. The thief is not the one that is going to scam you of your money from your bank account or from Wells Fargo. You know what the real thief is? The real thief is going to be those things that are distracting you from your purpose. Those things that are telling you to stick and continue to work as an employee, even when you feel it deep in your heart that you are made of more. The thing that is going to keep distracting you, you come back from work, instead of working 9 to 5 on your job and then spending 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. working on your own business and your own destiny, you decide to open Instagram and scroll Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for another 3-4 hours. YouTube, of course, you have to do that because you have to watch my video, right? They don't watch things that are not helping you. If you want to have a one-on-one call with me, there's also a link down in the description. Click on that link. Let's have a conversation, and I can help guide you on the different ways by which you can build yourself for personal growth. You can invest on the stock market and in other assets for profits, and you can build a lasting legacy. Now, the fourth thing I want you to understand is that yes, in the process of building your life and trying to become significant, courage is important. But you know what is even more important than courage? Patience. Patience, because a lot of people are in a hurry. A lot of people want to plant a fruit today and see the results tomorrow. A lot of people think they watch social media and they think it is normalcy for people in their 20s and 25 years old and 30 to be millionaires. It is the anomaly. It is not the normal stuff. That is not the usual stuff. A majority of millionaires, as statistics tell us in America, are in their 50s. So if you're not a millionaire yet, don't kill yourself. Don't rush. Be patient. Courage is not enough. Patience is what really builds value over time. When I look at the life of the most successful people, they were patient. They started doing something, they let it brew, they went through the process. You know, there is a process between learning and achievement. When you learn, the first thing you do is you experiment. After experimenting, you learn further and you decide what works, and you can see what works. When you experiment, then you execute. Executing now is trying to execute at the level of excellence. Now, when you execute, you will fail. And when you fail, you will learn. And when you learn, that's when you start really improving and delivering now on the level of excellence that you aspire to. So don't underestimate the power of patience. You might be courageous to do things, but don't just go out and start doing things and expect immediate results. Be patient. This is the second year I've been doing YouTube full time. I'm still at 1,600 subscribers. And by the way, if you are new to this channel, you haven't subscribed, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe, right? Because that's how you're going to help get this channel to go to more people, to help them. But most importantly, let me know in the comment section, what of this information really appeals to you? What are your ideas? What do you think about these different things that are important to help build you up, right? Let me know. Leave me a comment. Let me even know some of the things you would like me to talk about in my videos, because you are my very prized friends. To come out and watch my video, I appreciate you, and I want to make sure that I deliver to you the things that are relevant in your life and that can help you. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Share this with friends and family, right? The other thing which I think it's important to understand, right, is that most people will be kept from their purpose and destiny not by the obstacles they meet on the way, but by subjecting themselves to go for the lesser goal, which is easily achievable, but that doesn't amount to much. I want that to sink in a little bit. Let me take it over again for those who didn't hear in the back of the class. Right? Most people will be kept from their purpose and their destiny not by the obstacles they meet on the way, but by a decision they make because of those obstacles to subject themselves to reduce their goal and to achieve that goal which is meaningless to them. You see, anything you are going to do in this life of meaning will require a lot of sweat, will require time, requires a certain amount of pain, requires some scars before you achieve it. That's why personally I'm very weary of anybody who doesn't have a story that involves struggles. You know why? Because it is not realistic. You know, there are times in my life when my father died 4 years ago. It was a struggle for me. I was angry. I was frustrated. I kind of lost direction because my hero was gone. The man I believed in, the man I always looked up to. Yes, I knew he was going to die, but you don't really realize it until it happens. I remember that because I held his hand while he was dying. I spoke to him, I looked into his face, and I saw a man who had come, had lived, had accomplished his race, and it was my time to get going with my own race. It took me many months to get my spirit back together, to get my mind and my emotions back in the right place, to walk out of the depression I was feeling at that time, to realize that, Gustav, you got to keep going. So I hope this information has been of value to you. I hope it helps you be able to really identify what your purpose is, to identify what your gift is, and to start working on that. And if you still have some trouble doing that, there is a link down in the description of this video. Click on that link. Let's have a one-on-one conversation for a very small fee, and I'll be able to guide you as to some of the things that you should be focusing on with your life. I've been through that journey that you're going through. I've been through periods of my life when I was confused. I was trying to do so many things, and all those things I was trying to do had nothing to do with my own gift. It had nothing to do with my purpose. It had nothing to do with my legacy. And I know that you watching me, most people in this life have three things they want to achieve with their lives. They want to build themselves to become better versions of themselves. They want to be able to invest their intelligence, their skill, and the money they make to grow that money, to build wealth, and in all of that to build an impact and a lasting legacy so that their last name will never be forgotten, so that their generational name will live for generations to come. If you are one of those, make sure to click on the link below, book a one-on-one time. Let me help give you some clarity. Let me help explain to you how you can invest on the stock market for profits. Let me help clarify to you what your purpose might be and how to start guaranteeing your legacy through some of the great programs I offer. I will see you at the top. Bye for now.